Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC, a weekly podcast and YouTube channel discussing everything Wrexham from the point of view of long-term fans and brand new fans like my wife. So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in.
Hello and welcome back to episode 52.
52.
I don't know why I did it like that.
I don't know. We're in the middle of a tropical storm at the moment,
Oh my
so
God,
if you do
it's
hear
horrible.
thunder in the background, that's the reason why.
My dad just sent me a message asking if we wanted to borrow his lawnmower because he's not going to need it today. I don't think so.
I don't think so. We've had a busy week this week. We've been down to London, haven't we?
We have. I'm back again.
Yeah, I'm back again to a little food and drink festival, which was amazing. Thank you very much for Meridian Foods for sending us.
Yes, thank you.
They don't sponsor us, but where there is a sponsorship opportunity available, if anybody would like to sponsor us, that would be lovely. So this week, I think the main news is
Ta-da!
the new shirts have
I'm
arrived.
in love with it. I love it.
That's what
I love it.
Do you?
I loved it when they announced it and I saw it on online. I know you weren't too. You were a bit like,
I wasn't disappointed with it. I thought I need to see it in the flesh.
But I'm in love with it. I think it's lovely. I love the collar. I know people are a bit, undecided about the collar, but I like it. Purely because I've got somewhere to put my microphone when we record. Because I like to have it like a bit lower. But no, I like it. I think it's nice. Alfie thinks that the sleeves are Man United-esque.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. I like the thicker cuff on the sleeve. It
breaks it up a little bit. I like it.
I like it.
I love it.
I think it's very good.
Obviously people are, there's quite a lot of hoo-ha at the moment about people who've pre-ordered when they did their season ticket.
Yeah.
Some of them haven't got them and they're already in sale in the shop, but
yeah, it's one of them. They said it would
must have a really bad postman.
We got news about shirts. Do you want to mention to everybody what's going to be happening with the shirts?
Well, we've heard some news that the next week the goal shirts are going to be coming out. The goalkeeper shirts.
Yeah.
Sorry. So not sure what they're going to look like, but apparently they're being announced next week.
I do because the pictures of them are on the website.
Are they?
Yeah. So the keepers have had their pictures taken with them on. So.
Okay, so
yeah,
all right, and then apparently the away shirt, so that will be the white shirt,
will be the week after.
They said after, so it could be the week after, whatever. But then they've said the black shirt, is going to be in like another couple of months.
Okay, so anybody waiting for them shirts, that's what we've heard. Goalkeeper next week, the following week or the week after will be the white away. And then potentially a month or two into the season might be the black third shirt.
When's the third? I mean, hopefully the away ones will be ready and available for before the first away game. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Memberships
were announced this week. We're not going to delve too much. We're going to speak to our guest on Fan Forum about these. But over the last 3 years, we've seen memberships £10 go to £20 and now to £30.
Maybe next year they'll be 40, 2024, £40.
So basically they're going to be more expensive, but they're releasing more of the memberships this time. So more expensive, less chance of getting a ticket for anybody with them.
But I think they're kind of trying to get, obviously the work hasn't started yet, but obviously we're going to have the COP. So I think because obviously when the COP's built, the people who've got memberships this season will have a chance to either get a season ticket or more membership to get tickets for the COP. So I think there's
it's a longer term plan.
I think there's method to their madness, and I know some people have been very, very vocal about like you just said, we're more memberships, less chance of getting a ticket. But yeah, I think it's a long term plan, and we've all got to kind of go along for the ride, I think.
Yeah, we will talk about, as I say, we will talk a little bit more about that when we get our guest on shortly.
Something else has been announced, which is very exciting. I'm thoroughly excited about this because we have mentioned it when we did a tour of the Etihad a few weeks ago.
I feel like it was our idea.
I do as well. I do. So basically the racecourse have launched stadium tours. And they are commencing in July. The dates are actually, if you go on to
e-ticketing.
Yeah, if you go onto the e-ticketing website for Wrexham, they will, if you go to tickets, it'll say tours, and then you can click a day. I think they're like at 2:00 on a Wednesday, and some Wednesdays, and then there's one at 2:00 and a 4:00 on a Thursday, the 27th.
Yeah, so I think generally it's 2:00 and 4:00 on Wednesdays, but there is a Thursday in there, which is later in the month. I think that's on the 27th.
Yeah.
Head over to e-ticketing, have a little look at that.
Yeah, tickets are £10 for adults, and they are £5 for under 11s. So I personally am quite excited about that, and I think we definitely will.
Got to give it a go, haven't you?
Just to sit, I'm
just to review it.
I want to. Well, exactly that.
Put it through on expenses.
Shut up. But we don't do that. But also, I want to see like we've obviously seen the stands. We've been in the box. We've been, you know, in 1874.
18 what?
I don't know.
It's on your badge if you want to have a look.
I get so confused with these dates. 1864, I do apologise. I'm a new fan. I can't use that excuse anymore, can I?
I'm not sure you
1864 suite. So we've kind of seen that area, but it'd be nice to see where they, the gym and whatever. We don't know what they're going to do.
We don't know.
I'm assuming the changing rooms will be.
We will let you know. We'll let you know. Just a couple of other points to touch on. So Reece Johnson has signed for Barnet this week.
Yeah.
Look, congratulations, Reece. We wish you all the best. Good servant for Wrexham. Obviously, you didn't quite make the grade when we started pushing on a little bit. But all the best to you. All the best to you, and I hope you do really well over there at Barnet. One other news item to bring up: the Doncaster Rovers away game has been moved to moved from the 1st of April, which was Easter Monday, to the 2nd of April, and the kickoff will now be at 7:45 p.m. That has been moved at the request of Doncaster Rovers, as there is another game, which is the Rotherham game, who are also playing at home to Millwall on the Easter Monday. So it's try to alleviate some of the pressure around that sort of area that this game has fallen foul of being moved. So it won't be on Easter Monday, it will be on the 2nd.
Which I'm sure, they've given us plenty of notice.
Yes.
We're in July, it's not till next April, so, which is good, because sometimes...
Would it be nice to be an Easter Monday? Would it be an away game, you got a day off, and it would have been nice to travel?
It would, but unfortunately...
Hey-ho. Right, we're going to look at 2 clubs like we do every week. We're coming to the end of our clubs. We're getting very close to the season. First one we're going to look at is Harrogate Town.
Yep.
What can you tell us?
Well, they're 111 miles away.
Yeah.
They play at Wetherby Road, which is the Envirovent Stadium.
For sponsorship purposes.
The Envirovent.
Yeah.
Their capacity is 5,000, but they only have 1,000 seated.
Roughly, yeah.
Their away end is the My Rings terrace.
My Rings.
My Rings.
Yeah.
Some seating in the Wetherby Road stand.
For away fans, there is. Yeah, there is, but not a lot.
So that'll be either probably a first come first serve.
Yeah.
But people stand up when they go away anyway, so I don't think it matters. Just under 1,000 away fans they've got capacity for. They play in yellow.
Yeah.
Which I'm not quite sure about. And their nickname is the Sulphurites.
Yeah, it's a Spartan. Basically Harrogate, so they've got sulphur springs in Harrogate, which is the reason why they're the Sulphurites.
Okay, their mascot.
That's how boring that is, but yeah, that's the reason.
Moving on swiftly. The mascot is Harry Gator, which I really like.
It's good, that.
I love that, Harry Gator.
Yeah.
When I looked at it, I was like, why?
Yeah.
But then, Harry Gator.
Yeah.
Love it. They have been.
They were
a non-league team until 2020.
Yeah.
They beat Notts County in the playoff final, and it's their first time in the EFL. Sorry, it's their first time in the EFL in their history.
Yes. So when they went up in 2020, that was the first time they'd been in the EFL.
Which is cool. They finished 19th on 52 points, 9 above relegation.
Last season.
Bookies' favourite to go down next season.
Yeah. I was looking at some of the odds, and they are the favourites. One of the bookies' favourites to go down next season. I don't know the reason for that. I think what you find with a lot of non-league teams who go up, they sort of sometimes it can sort of go one or two ways. They'll have a couple of good years in the league, and then they will start to struggle, maybe money-wise, whatever, and then they will start to drift back down.
So they're managed by Simon Weaver, and he's been their manager since 2009.
2009.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah, it's 14 years he's been there.
That's a long time for a manager, isn't it? I hope Parky stays with us for that and longer than 14 years. And finally, their top scorer was Luke Armstrong, who scored 16 goals.
Fair play for a team that, was sort of quite average last season. It's a lot. The other team I wanted to look at is Forest Green Rovers.
They've been in the news recently,
haven't they? It's fallen quite nice this week. So Forest Green Rovers are 133 miles away. They play at the New Lawn, is the name of their ground. It's a capacity of just over 5,000. 2,000 of that is seated. Again, it's another non-league team that have come up recently. Yeah. The away end holds holds 1,000, and that's an open terrace as well.
When you say open terrace, has that got no roof?
No roof. Oh. And now it's an eco-friendly ground.
This I find so bizarre.
So they've got organic grass. They've got solar panels on the roof. They collect and recycle rainwater. And it's also the first meat-free stadium in the country.
I'm not sure. I mean,
it's very vegan. It's a vegan club.
I mean, that's brilliant about the grass and the solar panels, and they collect rainwater, they recycle all that. But kind of taking people's choice away from them in regards to having meat or not having meat. I think, I like meat. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan or anything like that.
Clubs,
and, whoever, if you want to be a vegan or vegetarian, fair enough. But I feel
clubs always take away your choice. Why? You could argue Wrexham are taking away my choice to have a burger because they don't serve burgers. They're taking away my choice of other things.
I think that's a bit different.
Maybe it is, but you could argue it for a lot of things, couldn't you? They've chosen this path, and that's the path they go down.
Okay. I'll get back in my box, shall I?
They play in green, obviously, eco and all that.
Well, and the fact they're called Forest Green as well.
Yeah, their mascot is Neville the Green Devil.
Neville Southall.
No.
He's their mascot. I wonder what he was doing with himself these days.
Neville the Green Devil. They finished bottom of League One last season. They only won 6 games from 46, scoring only 31 goals in the process. They were managed by Duncan Ferguson until this week, but they've just become the first English club to recruit a woman as manager of a men's professional team.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's Hannah Dingley. So she is from Carmarthen. She's Welsh as well.
A woman and Welsh, my goodness.
Yeah, a Welsh woman.
A Welsh woman.
So, what do you make of that?
I think it's very, very... I mean, look at the stand. They're very forward-thinking in regards to their stand, apart from the meat thing. I'm a bit thingy about that. But now they've got a woman managing their team.
Very progressive as a club, I would say.
That's the word I would say. Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Hats off to them. I mean, let's be honest. Let's look at the women's game just for a second. If you just look at the English teams, just for a second, England men's team, they do all right in tournaments, but they haven't won one for, almost 60 years. But the women have just won the Euros. The women are doing very well. And I think this has been coming for a while. It has been coming for a while. And I think it just took a brave club, which Forest Green Rovers obviously are.
They seem to be.
They're a brave club, and they've taken the decision. All the best to you.
She might be absolutely abysmal.
She might well be.
But the fact that they're taking the chance, I hopefully other clubs will, apart from ours, because we like Phil Parky. Kudos to them. Brilliant.
Their top scorer last season was Connor Wickham. He left in February. And they didn't really have anybody who caught him up. Connor Wickham's a bit of a strange one. He's a bit of a journeyman. He's been around quite a few clubs. He's played in the Premier League before. He left in February for Cardiff. He went to Cardiff. Cardiff have also now released him as well. So I think he's without a club at the moment. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, fan forum.
Yes.
This week, let's
We've
get
got
this
another
down.
exciting one today.
We have. We've been around the world a little bit. We've done a bit of America. We've done a bit of Australasia, so we had 2 guests from Austria.
Australasia?
Australasia, yeah, it's the continent.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway,
I thought that was a different place altogether.
So that we had 2 guests from Australia last week. We've gone close to home this week. We've come back to the roots. So this week we have Brendan, who lives just down the road from us.
He does.
So welcome to Me, the Wife from Wrexham AFC. Brendan, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you, and thanks for inviting me on.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. So how long, just to let everyone know, how long have you been a Wrexham fan, Brendan?
So obviously, been born in Wrexham probably since about 9 years old. I remember going to a game at home to Swindon in April. I think it was 1975. It was a total blur. Just running around like a stupid kid. It didn't even know what I was looking at. Went with a group of friends. You know, you could go in around 20 past 4, the gates would open and then you could just walk in, and it was one of those experiences. But my first proper experience would have been, I'm old enough to know this, Crystal Palace, when we played them in 1977. We were chasing to get up from Division 3 at the time. And that's when I got my first taste of drama. And it was amazing. It really was amazing.
Did you probably picked a really good season there then, didn't you? The 77-78 season to start sort of going regularly.
Well, Crystal Palace was the season before.
Okay.
And that's where there was about 18,500 there. They beat us 4-2. We needed a point to go up. We got the point. We come back from 2-0 down. And the last 5 minutes, we lost 4-2. And you just felt it was fated that we just wouldn't do it. The following season, that's when my father started to take me, because at that time you used to get tickets for £1 from school, and then the following year my father took me to watch the games. And I remember watching Rotherham 7-1. About 20,000 people were there, and it just felt right. It just felt right. And how old would I then been? I would have been probably about 10, 11, and that would have been it. And then over subsequent years, you dip in, you dip out for when you've got kids, cost of going, etc., etc. But I always seem to find the really good, important games. I was always there, and then of course it's all changed now, isn't it? It's just fantastic.
It's another world now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, touching on what you just said there, you've obviously been a fan for a long time. You've seen managers come and go, owners come and go. What do you think? What did you think when the new owners came in? What do you think when Ryan and Rob took over?
Initially, I saw it on Twitter and I thought, this is one of those, it's a scam or it's something, this is ridiculous. I tweeted my son, or I contacted my son. He said, Dad, you've got to stop believing what comes on Twitter. Half of it is made up. I know that, but this is BBC News that have just done it. Pardon? BBC News have just done it. So then he come back, oh, hello, this looks legit. And from there on in, I kept on for the first, I don't know about you guys, first few days, no. Or they just doing it for a publicity stunt. I'm sure we all thought that. And it's just, loads of people have said what they thought, but my immediately thought was, well, even if they stay with us for 3 years or 5 years, it's better than where we are now. And if they get us out of the National League, that'll be good enough for me. That'll be good enough.
I'm quite similar. I remember when the news came out, and I remember Siân actually saying to me, she said, apparently Ryan Reynolds is interested in buying the club. And I was like, same sort of thing. I was like, don't listen to all this stuff. I said, it's not true. It's not true. And then it was a similar sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was sort of like, actually, this is true. That so it was like, and it was bizarre at the time. What do you make, Brendan, of all because obviously since Ryan and Rob have taken over, what do you make of all the new international fans that they've brought along with them?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm fortunate in work, or unfortunate, I have to travel down to London and I come back on the train. And almost all the time, I will have either an American or a Canadian coming over to me, knowing that I'm going to Wrexham. Can I ask? Can I ask you? Are you going to Wrexham? I am. Yes, I'm going to Wrexham. And then they just tell you their story of how and why and what they've got to get for their family. And the one that really struck with me was a lady that would travel to Manchester on business, broke off from a business meeting to come to Wrexham for a night, come away, and she said, can you tell me where the ground is and the turf? And I literally took her over the bridge out of the railway station. When you see Disney for the first time and a child's just eyes light up and you see it through a child's eyes, this lady just freaked. And I just looked and I'm thinking, really? This is just the race course? But you don't know. I've fallen in love with football probably even more now because what you're doing is you're seeing it through their eyes, where oh, it's just the turf, oh, it's just the ground. You take for granted how
Yeah.
how grand it is, and when you meet these people, it's fantastic.
So in the news this week, we've had details of the membership prices have been released and the rebranded packages and all that. What do you make of the sort of price rises with regards to sort of membership?
It's an interesting one, really, because obviously it's another increase and cost of living crisis as well. For some people, it's a lot of money. It's easy for me to say I'm a season ticket holder. You get membership as part of being a season ticket holder. It's not going to really affect me. It's really difficult because I feel for the people that it's also now really difficult to get a ticket. And is it true value that the membership fee that we've got with what you're getting if you don't get a ticket? However, 3-4 years ago, the fact that we'd even have membership, that you'd have to pay for something, it's a case of what do we want? Do we want to languish where we are and struggle, or do we have to pay more? For example, for a football shirt, for example, its increases. Our season tickets have increased. No doubt they will increase again next year when the new cop stand comes. But it's the price we pay for success. And to be fair to the owners, they haven't got much wrong. In fact, they've probably got most things right. I can't really think of something. The only things they possibly got wrong is sometimes it's not what they're doing, it's them sometimes their communication. And this could be one of them. So maybe they'd fully explained why they were doing it, then there wouldn't be the same reaction. But to be honest, it's just one of those we just got to bite the bullet. It's called progress.
So do you think it's a tightrope between sort of a tightrope of helping the community and pushing the club towards being sustainable?
Yes, and they've announced that they're going to open up the academy. Now the academy won't come cheap. So there's all these things and we're growing a club that hasn't grown probably for 20 years in 2 or 3 years. And it's really difficult. We can't have it both ways, can we? So we can't say, should we stay old little old Wrexham? But we want everyone to love us and it's all going to be cheap. There is a price to be paid for progress. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it is. It's a fine line, isn't it, between we want the community and we want to help the community, and the club's got to be sustainable, and everything has got to go up, unfortunately. But personally, I'll ask you: do you think that they're still on the right side of that fine line?
I get what Brendan's saying in regards to, like, obviously we're in a cost of living crisis, and hopefully I think we're coming out of that now. I believe. I don't,
Well, who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, to say? I think personally, I think they may be on the right side of that, but
I think I agree with Brendan, because sometimes you have to look at it in a different way, and you have to look at it objectively sometimes, because we're all the three of us here now are season ticket holders.
Yes.
this doesn't massively, yes, our season ticket price has gone up, but the membership side of things doesn't hugely affect us. So you have to look at it a little bit differently sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that it's another price rise and people have gone, we're already paying more for shirts and we're already paying more for this, for tickets, when now we're paying more for our membership as well. So I do get it. I do get it. It can be a bit of a fine line, but I think, as Brendan rightly said, I don't think they've got much wrong. And I think there will be, you know, we'll move past this and people will either pay it or they won't. And
yeah, it's hard to say though, isn't it? Oh, well, if you're not happy with the membership, or you're not happy with the shirt prices, or you're not happy with the season ticket, then don't bother buying them. But that's quite, I think, that's quite a harsh kind of thing to say, I think, because people want to like support the club and become a member and get their bum on the seat in the ground, and they want to, you know, wear a shirt, you know, buy a shirt for their 11-year-old girl or 11-year-old boy or something like that. Do you know, it's I think people who say, if you're not happy, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I think that's I think that's something that people need to kind of rein in and say, actually, that's not a very community-minded answer.
Yeah, and I think some of the frustration comes at I was one of the lucky ones, and I don't make many good decisions in life. But when they took over, I just thought to myself, I'm going to get a season ticket because I've got a feeling this is going to be interesting. And I remember trying to persuade my friend at the time, and he wasn't particularly interested at first. So I said, well, if you don't want to, it doesn't matter, I'm going. And I think there was a lot of people that chose either not to, couldn't do, circumstances, and their circumstances have changed now, and you do have that regret. You know, if some people will, I keep on hearing it all the time, especially people around me, the best thing I've ever done was getting a season ticket when I did. And you know, and I really do feel for the people that can't. And yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. I'm very similar to you. So I've been going to games for, like, with my dad for 30 years, and I'd never had a season ticket. It was always a case of going, right, which games are we going to go to? Oh, we'll go to this one, we'll go to that one, we'll go to that one. Right, we'll get tickets for that. Yeah, and then you choose which games you wanted to go and see.
You'd always get a ticket.
Always get a ticket. A lot of the time as well, it was just a case of walk in. You know, if it was a Tuesday night or something like that, it's like, just sit where you want. You know, no one's going to kick you out of the seat. You know, everyone sort of congregates towards the middle, and that's just the way it was. But when Rob and Ryan happened, very similar to you, Brendan, it was a case of, I don't think we're going to be able to do that anymore. I've done that for 30 years. I don't think we're going to be able to do that anymore. I think unless I've got a season ticket, I may have to just resign myself to the fact that I might not see him that often anymore. You know, so that's very similar to you, that I went out and bought a season ticket for that very reason.
And to put it sometimes into context, would you prefer to turn up at 2:55 and walk into a half-empty stadium, or have to leave your house at 12 o'clock because you've got to meet your friends first because they're all going, and then you get into the ground about half an hour, 3/4 an hour before to pick up the atmosphere and start singing? I know which one I'd prefer.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's progress. And that's progress, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I know you're in the university end. Have you always been a sort of behind the goal sort of guy?
Yeah, historically, I was always in the cop, but never a chanter, if you want to call it that. And when I went into the union, it's a story for you. So initially, when I went in there, I thought, oh my God, this is too noisy. And I was right, by coincidence, right in the thrust of where you really get a lot of the singing. And then by about halfway through that season, guess who was singing just as much as them? And I'd be having tinnitus coming out the game, and before you know it. And I think the other thing that they really improved in the uni end. So initially there was, I can use the word, a lot of behavior that really wasn't acceptable. But since, you know, the security get a lot of criticism. When them guys start standing next to you, you know you're in trouble. You're about to leave the stadium, and they've taken all that away. And so I think for a lot of people, male, female, young and old, yes, you can come, have a great time, shout your heads off, swear as much as you like, as long as it's within reason, and you feel safe. And it wasn't there like that initially because all of a sudden we had this club that was growing so quickly, and it wasn't putting the necessary stewardship. I mean, I know obviously post COVID it was difficult, but they decided to bring security in, and rightly or wrongly, again, it's improved the match day experience. So yeah, the noise that's generated. One of the really endearing images I got was somebody was in the Yale stand after Ben Foster saved that penalty, I believe, was against Notts County, and they were all focusing on the Yale stand, and they were all obviously thrilled. They then worked their way down where you are, all the way down to the uni end. And when they got to the uni end was carnage. And what I mean by that, it felt as if the stand was bouncing. Yeah. And I look back in it and thinking, I can't believe I'm in the middle of all that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, isn't it?
I do get a bit jealous actually sometimes. Like when we go to away games, I love being where the drum is and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because I get jealous because we're obviously in the Macron stand. Yeah. I'm like, oh God, you know what? I would love to be over there for a game at Wrexham, a home game.
I know.
But then I kind of think, well, yeah, I'd probably safer where I am because I'll probably cause most of the carnage because I do get a bit carried away when we're in the Macron stand, to be honest.
You've got, I think, in the university, and we spoke obviously before. You've got like what you consider as like your little university end family around you in that yes. stand.
Yes. So there's about 11 of us. We're all spread over different levels. So it's not as if we're all standing in one row or one row behind it, but you just gradually over a period of time, obviously giving your expert analysis about what they should do and what they should change this and put me lucky hats on and me lucky scarf on and all this. And we started off a WhatsApp group, and the emotions that are coming through us as a group, towards the end of last season, like anybody else. And I'm sure there's loads of, I call them Wrexham families. And we've come so close. And one of our group, Nige Colton, he was on your podcast a few weeks ago, a super chap. He's currently, if I can do a shout out for him, he's currently going through some chemo treatment for his cancer. And as our Techcan family, we want to tell him that we're thinking of him and to keep fighting. And I know he'll come through it. And he's already said he's going to be back there 5th of August with his head bald, but he's going to be back there. And also to reach out for his wife, Jill, who's giving him obviously that tremendous support and thinking of her too.
Oh my God.
No.
All emotion.
No, he's,
God.
We spoke, we obviously, Nigel's been on the show as a guest, and he's just a lovely guy. He is such a nice guy. And, same, as you've said, Brendan, the same from us. We wish you, we do wish you all the best. And,
sorry, I'm such a girl.
No, I hope it'll mean the world to him, the fact that, you're reaching out to him as well, because when you're going through this situation, you need as much people in your corner as you possibly can to give you that strength and boost your morale. And I mean, he's a terrific guy. He doesn't need, but if it helps him just that little bit, that's why we want to give a shout out to him. He's a super guy.
Yep, we're all behind him.
Yeah,
definitely
100%.
All behind him.
Talking about the stand, you know where you are. What do you sort of feel about sponsorship in the game? Because obviously you are now for next season you're going to be standing in the Stoke cold brew coffee stand. So how does that sort of sit with you?
Don't care. It's a tech end.
Yeah.
I mean, we were having a conversation earlier before we come on. They call it the Macron stand. What did I say? Yeah. So things in the Mold Road stand, the Wrexham Lager stand, our things in the Yale stand. They can call the cop anything, they can call the ground anything. The people who know, and that's how it'll stay, won't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. We had this, because with Siân being quite new to football, and she said, when we talked about the sort of naming rights to the stadium, I'd already sort of primed Siân for at some point we are going to sell the naming rights for the racecourse. And she was going, but no, but we can't call it this. We can't. I said, nobody will call it whatever they end up calling it. Everyone will still call it the racecourse. It is purely a very good way of making some money, and which everything is. And, you know, it's really good. Over the years, Brendan, you've probably been to some absolutely amazing games. If you had to pick one game out as your absolute favourite, what would it be?
Well, I'm not going to include last season because I think last season is exceptional on many counts. We weren't just talking about one game, we were talking about a whole season. And I think traditionally, when you follow a football club, you get your 1 or 2 games a season that I'm done. You've been going just as long in many ways, Ryan, having the volume of games where you're thinking that particular game that season was brilliant, that particular game. And then you get the one step up from that. And then you get the one in a decade or one in that I can't believe I was there. And it was the Arsenal game in early 1992. For many reasons, we could just stroll into that game. I know there was 13,000 there, but you could stroll into that game shortly before. And me and my friend at the time were sort of saying to ourselves, I hope they keep the score down to about 5, and we can leave with a little bit of dignity. And of course, it's the FA Cup. It wasn't like that, and it was more poignant for me because I just lost my father 2 months before. Obviously, he was the one that took me to the games, and that will, to me, means a great deal, as I'm sure it does you with your dad. And I was crying at the end, and couldn't understand whether I was crying because of my dad or because of the occasion. And then it just hit the world. I mean, that's probably the greatest upset in FA Cup history. The champions of what was Division One, we'll call it the Premier League, the previous year, and we finished bottom of the whole football league, and we beat them. Extraordinary story. You just know that's never going to happen again, surely. Never.
Yeah. I mean, I was at that game. Me and my dad went to that game, and I think, let's try and work this out. I think I was 10 at that game, and I remember I remember going to the game, and I think at 10 years old, I don't think I fully took on board the enormity of what had actually happened during that game. I don't think so. Yes, I was there, and I'm happy that I was there, but I don't think I really appreciated what had happened. I was excited.
The enormity of it. Yeah, you're not going to, are you, at that age?
No, and but yeah, it was. I think it's a very special one.
I think it's the same with Alfie at the Boreham Wood game. You know, he was obviously there, and you know, he was excited, but I don't think, you said that. I don't think he realised the enormity of that actual game. And maybe when he's 41, that is how old you are, 41.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll look back on it and go, do you know what? I was there with my mum and my dad, my granddad, my tidy, as Alfie calls his granddad. And he'll look back on it with fond memories. But yeah, I think Alfie's the same with you. It's a Boreham Wood game. It's like it's just a game.
Just a game. Oh, down the years, Brendan, do you have one player that for you is sort of epitomises Wrexham and is sort of your favourite player?
Without question, it's Joey Jones. Without question, the guy should have a statue for him. Without a shadow of a doubt, Joey Jones. And probably the one from my era that went very unsung, that started it all off, was John Neal. A lot of people always don't look that far back, but he was the guy that came in and created. Wrexham went from a total joke, and he put in things. I mean, it just goes to show. John Neal left us. He managed Middlesbrough, got them promoted to Division One. Went to Chelsea, got them promoted. Won them. I think he won a trophy with Chelsea. And he was an exceptional manager. And he brought out the likes of Joey Jones, Mickey Thomas, Gareth Davis. There's so many that names you could rattle off. But Joey Jones, most certainly. But from a current, it's very easy. Let's go for Paul Mullin because he is exceptional. When Paul Mullin moves on, and it's hard to imagine right now, how are you going to replace him? you just can't think how you're going to replace him. But the sort of the current crop, I'd probably look for like Jordan Davis and Luke Young. I think Luke Young especially epitomizes from how far we've come from. And I had fortunate to meet him a month or so ago at a sort of players' evening, and he was superb. And the same Jordan Davis was within that night as well, and really, really good pros. And they are Wrexham as far as I'm concerned. But probably the most biggest current one we have to say, the guy that's really held it all on his shoulders is Phil Parkinson. He's the man. I mean, if he, the AAA that they showed after we beat Boreham Wood, I think I cried 2 or 3 times through that. But there was one image that she slowed it down. I think, and she slowed it down where he's walking down the touchline, and he just looked up, and the pressure that that was coming away from him, that he's carried more than anybody else. An exceptional man, exceptional manager, I think.
Yeah, we love Parky, and I love Luke Young as well.
Well, just to touch on Luke Young before we move on, Brendan, you mentioned him. I agree with everything you say about Luke Young. Fantastic player, and he's been an amazing servant to the club. As we move forward into a new season, Jan hates this question, but I love asking it because I think it's an important question to ask. Does Luke Young still get in the team / squad for you?
Well, the evidence would say the last dozen games of last season, the answer is no. There's your evidence that it won't happen. However, I do believe Luke can offer something to us that nobody else can. Now, whether that's a bit more bit part and not as full on that what Luke would like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to see him leave.
No.
That's really where we're cutting to. I really want to see him leave. But he's a guy that at a certain point in his career, he may consider, I want to continue to play games. We don't know how Parky's managing him. It could be to a degree that he wants to use him in different ways. But it's going to be tough. But when you return, this is the other thing. I think it's going to be tough for all of them, because when you return for pre-season, it's day one again. So you may have fallen. So, for example, Jordan couldn't quite recover from his injury, get back. But day one of pre-season, you're all at the same line. So who knows? I would like, obviously, from where we've come from, isn't it, Siân? With what Luke's done for us, we want to continue to see him, but we come back down to the same thing again. It's called progress. And there's no sentimentality in it, is there?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, there is for me.
It's really tough. I would love to see him stay. He's a great captain. He's a great leader as well. But yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
I think it's wait and see thing, isn't it?
It is. Well, Brendan, we'll come back to you in just a second. We just wanted to touch on the rumour mill, because we do it every week. I just wanted to tidy that up a little bit, because we've talked about quite a few players. Now, please remember, these are rumours. But I just wanted to run down some of the people we touched on. So, Alfie May, we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yep.
He's joined Charlton this week. So that's him out of the way. Max Power is reportedly joining Al Qadisiyah, they're in Saudi Arabia. They're managed by Robbie Fowler.
Okay.
Right. So that's their second tier Saudi Arabian team.
Okay.
So that looks where Max is going. Nick Powell, the ex-Man United player, he has just joined Stockport.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily say we've missed out on these people. They were rumours. We don't even know the club were interested in them in the first place.
Isn't that Nick Powell? Isn't he injury prone?
But yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, he has been. Anyway, this week it's been brought up about Cal Naismith, who's currently at Bristol City.
Mm-hmm.
He's more of a utility player, Cal is. So
what does that mean, Ryan?
Okay. Utility player is very much, he started his career as sort of like an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
A winger. He moved into central midfield. He's played as like a CDM, which is a central defensive midfielder. He's played more recently as a centre-back. So very comfortable on the ball, very comfortable in numerous different positions, a very handy player to have. Similar to Liam McAlinden is.
Okay.
We can play Liam in a few different positions. So he's quite a handy player to have. He's 31, but last season he only managed 25 league games in the Championship for Bristol City because of 2 injuries.
They're 2 leagues above us, aren't they?
They are indeed, yes. He's got 2 years left on his contract, a 3-year contract, so we would have to pay for him if we did want him.
Is he going to come down 2 leagues, though?
It depends, doesn't it? Again, who knows?
Isn't he on 15 grand a year? A week, even?
That's the reports. We're never going to know whether that is true. That's a lot of money to be on for us to be looking at, doing anything with.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to bring it up that it was actually out there. He was actually in the Championship team of the season, not the season just gone, but the season before.
Mm-hmm.
Very good player. Would be a bit of a coup. Although I think his wages are a worry. When he's still got 2 years left on a contract where he's earning $15,000 a week, why cut that short unless you're going to pay him $15,000 a week, which I very much doubt, based on our top earning players at the moment. I can't see that happening. Do you pay much attention to rumours, Brendan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's with the players you just mentioned with Nick Powell, he's gone to Stockport, hasn't he, on a 3-year contract?
Yeah.
I would suspect Wrexham probably, if they were interested in him, would have probably shied away from that length of contract. I think he'll be a great asset for Stockport, and I think Stockport are going to be now amongst the favourites. So yeah, and I think is it Max? Did you say Max? Yeah. So with Max, with him going, that's a no-brainer for him. And then this Cal Naismith, this is an interesting one that's come a bit left field, this one, isn't it? And the bit I feared was, well, because he's a utility player, is he coming in to replace somebody who has recently been approached, or not been approached, but bid from Coventry? And I'm thinking, please let this not be the case. But the club do their business so well. We're making up all the stories, really. And nothing comes from the club until all of a sudden, that's it. It's done. So yeah. And it's been there's been this lad from Bolton Wanderers, a centre half. They've been rumoured to be after. It's endless, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably talk all day, about rumours and the things going on, Just to close off, what are your sort of hopes for next season, Brendan? Where do you see us going? But I think for so long we've felt like a league club trapped in the non-league, and now that monkey's sort of off our back now. So we need a sort of new identity, and we need to move forward. We're no longer that in the league club trapped in non-league. So, what are we now, and what are your hopes for next season?
So last season we were a big fish in a small pond. So initially, when we won the league, my thoughts were probably like many others, we'll go straight up, and then we'll get to League One, and we may spend a couple, and we'll go straight up again. But then it dawns on you, we're now no longer the biggest fish. We're probably a medium fish, and there's probably another 9 or 10 medium fishes in this pool. And optimistic, I think we'll at least get playoffs, and I'm being realistic here. We'll at least get playoffs and may fail. However, the following season, we'll go up. I think that there's a bit to acclimatise when you go up, and I know we've got players that are League One level. You've still got to acclimatise when you go up to a new league. Stockport are proof of that. Yes, they bought players. They had to buy a lot of players, but it took them 2 or 3 months before they acclimatized. And I expect there'll be a little bit of that. And we won't know fully, will we, until we see 1 or 2 these new players coming in, and then we'll know. And again, Parky, he hasn't got many of his signings wrong, has he? I think I can think of one he's got wrong, and I think he was his very first signing.
Yeah.
Was it Brisley?
Yeah.
I think he's possibly the one he's got wrong, and all the others, like even Harry Lennon, there was an exceptional player there. It was injuries that finished him off. So it is a bit of in Parky we trust.
Yeah.
And I'm just gotta wait and see. What are your feelings?
I keep swaying one way or another. If I'm perfectly honest, I've got a feeling that we've got that momentum. And I think we will definitely push on. I think, as you've rightly said, I think the first 2 months of the season are crucial in how we're going to end up, because I think we're going to be a very good team from month 3 onwards in League Two. And I think the thing that will define our season will be how quickly we acclimatise and how quickly that we press on with just winning games and picking up points. That for me is the key to where we're going to end up next season. As you rightly said, Stockport, they struggled. First couple of months, they could barely pick up points, and they really struggled. After that, I mean, they went unbeatable, but they were an extremely good team. And once they found their feet, they were away. And I think for me, it's one of them. I think the first couple of months is going to define the season for me.
I'm ever the optimist. I'm
straight up.
Yeah, straight up.
Go, Siân.
Yeah.
The other thing though is to note, sad as it is, when you look at the stats, for teams that go up from League Two, you can lose 9 league games and draw 7, and you'll still go up as third automatically. Yeah. So our expectations have immediately got to change. So we can't say, "Oh, we've lost 3 games, we're in trouble." No. This is a different level. We are going to pick up points when we shouldn't, and we're going to lose points when we shouldn't. It's a different dynamic, I would say, because it changes because of it's not be all and end all, because you have the top 3 that are going up. I don't believe Wrexham will go down. That's absolutely certain. But I would say there's probably a good 10 teams that could go up there. Now, the National League, you could say there's a good 4.
Yeah.
Couldn't you?
Right. Just some people who got in touch.
Yep.
I wanted to bring up just before we go into the quiz.
Mm-hmm.
We had Peter.
This name.
Peter Langenecker. I do apologise, Peter, if I got that wrong. He's from Vienna in Austria. He got in touch, sent us a great email. He said he's listened to every episode of the podcast. He loves the story of Wrexham. He's been watching the documentary. He loves it, and he's planning on coming over to Wrexham. So we're having a little conversation with Peter at the moment.
Yes, we are.
Also, Lee Griffiths is from Bay of Plenty in New Zealand. He got in touch. The email started, "I love your podcast." Just for anyone else out there, that's a great way to start an email to us.
That's one way to get our attention.
His dad actually grew up in Wrexham,
yeah.
So he's told him lots of stories about it. So, and he thinks next season will be tougher than people think. Well, thank you very much to both of you for getting in touch. Anyone else who wants to get in touch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or email us at methewife@wrexhamafc@gmail.com.
And Threads.
Oh, yeah, we're on Threads now, for anybody who knows what that is. I Google it.
I'm getting used to it. It's a bit, yeah.
We're on Threads anyway. Have a look at that. Right, so we're going to jump straight into the quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brendan, Siân, same as every week. There are 3 statements in each section.
Yeah.
1 of them is true. 2 of them are a lie. All you guys have to do is pick out the truth.
It's easy for you to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw him on the podcast of Two Beards. He was nothing. There was nothing there, was there, Siân?
Yeah, you were nothing, Ryan.
Yeah, right. Number 1.
Okay. Am I answering first?
Siân is answering first, as always, yes.
Okay.
Number 1. Wrexham's longest running shirt sponsor was Marston Ales, which was a sponsor for 11 years. Or number 2. Wrexham have had more seasons playing in blue than they have in red. Or number 3, the Wrexham home kit has only had black shorts twice in the last 158 years.
I'm going to go with the third one.
The third one.
Number 3.
Did you see it when I turned it on?
No, I'm not
Brendan?
a cheater.
I'm going to go with number 1.
Number 1. Siân is correct.
Oh!
The longest running shirt sponsor was Wrexham Lager, actually. So
Congratulations, Siân, on getting that correct.
Number 2.
Yep.
The racecourse, as well as being used for horse racing and cricket prior to football, also hosted regular Morris dancing events, including the British Morris Dancing Championships in 1851, 1852 and 1859. Or number 2, Billy Waters has Italian ancestors and an Italian middle name, which is Pena. Ryan Barnett's older brother is the groundsman at Shrewsbury Town.
Number 1.
Number 1, the Morris dancing.
Yeah.
Brendan?
Number 1's looking really good because he's named specific dates. But then number 3, Ryan Barnett. That's God, they're so good. It's so good. I'm going to go for number 3. I'm going to go the opposite of Siân.
Okay, so you've gone for 1. Brendan's gone for 3. The answer's number 2.
Oh!
Billy Waters does have Italian ancestors and his middle name is Pena.
Really?
His name is Bill Henry Pena Waters. So there we go.
Well, there you go.
Number 3. If you combine the first names of 2 of our first team squad, you get one of the following. 1. A BAFTA and Golden Globe winning actor. 2. A professional dancer and choreographer. Or 3. A British cyclist with 7 Olympic medals.
I have no idea. I'm going to go with 2. I don't know.
The dancer.
Yeah.
Brendan?
Gee, we could be here all day looking this one up. So I'm going to go different from Siân purely because it gives me a chance. I'm going to go with number 1.
1. So you're going for the BAFTA and Golden Globe winning actor. You're doing well, Siân. It is correct. So
that was totally a get.
The dancer, he was on Strictly. His name is James Jordan.
Oh God, yeah.
There we go.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, number 4. On the Wrexham AFC Twitter feed this week, there were more individual photos of James Jones than any other player. Or number 2, when London hosted the Olympics in 1908, the racecourse was used for the archery competition. Or number 3, Wrexham is the only club in the EFL with a double letter prefix postcode.
I don't think number 3 is right. I'm going to go James Jones pictures because I have seen quite a lot of him on Twitter this week.
Brendan?
I'm going to go for number 3.
Number 3. You're on fire. It is James Jones, yes. There are other clubs with double prefix postcodes. Blackburn, Burnley, they've got double prefixes as well. So there you go. And the other one, I make all the lies up.
You're very good at lying.
I know, it's good, isn't it?
I'm concerned.
The last one. The only player to not have their photo in the new kit on the Wrexham AFC first team page on the website is Bryce Hosanna. Or number 2, Wrexham play MK Dons on the 5th of August. It will be the first time the 2 clubs have ever met in the league. Or number 3, Ben Foster is taller than Ben Tozer.
Ooh.
What was the first one? Sorry. What was the first one?
The first one is the only player to not have their photo in the new kit on the Wrexham AFC first team page on the website is Bryce Hosanna.
I've only seen Elliot Lee because I was obviously looking at him up today. So I'm going to go with the shirt one, I think.
The shirt one, number 1.
Number 1, yeah.
Same, I was going to go for number 1, yes.
No, unfortunately not. So there's 2 players who haven't been photographed in the new kit. One is Kai, and the other one is Ben Foster. They're the only 2 that haven't had their photo taken in the new shirt. Wrexham have played the MK Dons before in the league. According to every stat I can find, Ben Foster is taller than Ben Tozer.
Really?
I'm not sure I believe it.
Ben Tozer's a tall guy.
No, I wouldn't. Well, we have, if you look at every stat you can find, Ben Foster's 6'4", and Ben Tozer's 6'3".
I think Ben Foster's having a little.
But if you got every website you go on.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
and you can say how tall you are.
Yeah. Massive thank you to Brendan for joining us this week.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to all of you for listening at home. And we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.